Welcome to SSPTV Community News. I'm Lisa Sugart. Today we are very pleased to be here in Eckley at the Eckley Miners Village, one of my favorite places. And I am very pleased to be joined by Chris Stokeham, who is a project manager here at Eckley. And you are here to tell us about a very special project because Eckley has been awarded some money, some grant money, that is going to do special things eventually to this village. And really, I think the public is going to like what's going to happen. So Chris, thanks for joining us. Tell us all about what's happening here.
Well, thanks so much for coming by. So in summer of 2023, the National Endowment for the Humanities promised Eckley $48,000 of federal funding and challenged us to raise an additional $48,000 to design research facilities and overnight lodging here in the village. Just recently, the Willery Foundation, which is a Scranton-based organization that has long been a friend of Eckley, gave us $17,000, so more than a third of the way toward that $48,000 match that we have to raise. And that's really gotten us close to meeting the first benchmark that we have to hit. And so coming up this June, we need to raise half of that $48,000. So we only have $8,000 left to go to keep us competitive for the federal funding and make sure this project goes through to completion.
I know everybody around this area loves this site, this facility. Can they help you reach that goal? Can they make donations?
Absolutely. So if you go to eckleyminersvillage.com and click on the What's New tab, you'll get project updates, some background information, some renderings of what our plans are, and critically, there is a support button. And so we accept monetary donations, but also if you have time to volunteer, we'll have all sorts of programs coming up this summer that will be supporting this initiative through ticket sales, bringing people out to the property. And so, like I said, we'll accept the monetary donation, but if you have time to give as well, get in touch with us and we'll find a way to get you involved.
There are two structures on the village that are going to be renovated as part of this project. So you told us you're going to take us and our viewers right now to go take a look at them, right?
That's right. Let's go check them out.
So now we came down the entire road practically through the village of Eckley to the first structure where the work is going to be done. Chris, tell me what this house is or was and what it will be.
Sure. Well, this house was constructed in the middle 1860s for Asa Foster, who was one of the original founding partners of Eckley, a mine engineer that was responsible for some of the first waves of development, both in the village and the town beneath. But Asa Foster is also a good model for what we want to accomplish here. In addition to being an engineer, he was a publisher, he was a newspaperman, he was an inventor. And so what we're looking to recreate his house as is a research center. And so this would be a place where scholars from regional universities who might be interested in the region's geology, its geography, its archaeological record, its history, they could come here and find workspace. That could be offices, wet labs, facilities that they could have classes and conferences, so that their research wasn't merely about the anthracite region, but it was actually taking place in the anthracite region. Another interest that we have in this building is to, use that research presence as a resource for local K through 12 students. So to bring those students out here, get them some hands-on experience working in these different academic disciplines, thinking ahead to what they might want to study when they move on and develop a deeper appreciation for the region. And then the last thing that we would hope to get out of the research center is new programming for the village. That might be a public event, it might be an exhibit, any number of things that we may stumble upon in learning more about the natural and the human history of Eckley and the anthracite region as a whole.
Now you've had students coming through here for years that would come and take a look at Eckley and do some research and different things here. So this would only increase that and increase your visibility also.
That's right. So our main partnership has been with the University of Maryland's Archaeology Department. They've been coming here since about 2015 through the Anthracite Heritage Project, and their excavations have turned up really tremendous new knowledge, new information about the village, whether that be the domestic or consumer habits of the people that lived here, the quickness with which they built additions onto their homes. We've discovered that basically as soon as mining families moved into these company houses, they put on additions that improved their quality of life. And so that, it goes to show just one discipline conducting research in the village can reveal about it. If you bring in all these scholars and all of their disciplinary fields, we could end up with a very robust, very rich record of what life has been in this region for the couple centuries that people have been here.
Well, this is our last stop, and this is going to be the future home of lodging at the Eckley Miners Village. Chris, I've always thought it would be so cool if there was lodging here for people to stay, and you're hoping eventually there will be.
That's right. It's probably the most frequent question that you get here at the village. How can I stay? And we're trying to meet that demand. And so this building is the first one that we're starting with, but not necessarily the last that will develop as lodging. This is really the test case so that we know, what kind of facilities people were expecting, what level of finish and interior comfort. I think I mentioned earlier that some people ask if they can use an outhouse and really have the full 19th century experience, go without indoor plumbing and electricity. I don't know if everybody's in the mood for that, but we'll figure out, what a happy middle ground is. So you still have an historical experience, but with all the modern amenities you might want. And so initially, this building will primarily serve as overnight lodging for the researchers that we're having the research center. That's just about 200 yards down the road, so it's close by, right next door to the research facilities. And this would be a place if they were conducting longer-term field schools, archaeological studies, or if they were partnering with, say, Hazleton Public Schools or other schools that are in the nearby area. Researchers could stay here at the property for several weeks throughout the summer. But in the off seasons or when the researchers aren't here, we are hoping to make this available to the general public to come and get a whole new vantage, a whole new perspective on Eckley.
So give us a time frame on all of this.
Sure. Right now, we're in a fundraising and design phase. And as you might imagine, the design work that goes into renovating historic structures like this is fairly long. We have to be careful that we're not jeopardizing our position on the National Register of Historic Places, and that we don't, put at risk any of the historic experience that visitors are looking for when they come here. And so, I'd anticipate another year or two of that design work, the planning work. But once all those designs are complete, we'll certainly let you know. And then we'll be moving on to a brick and mortar phase. And hopefully not too long after that, you'll be able to post up at Eckley Miners Village and, at least for a weekend, act like you're in the 19th century.
But in the meantime, you want them to still come and visit Eckley, and you want them to donate to Eckley so you can get this done even faster.
Sure. The more donations we get in, the more quickly we can meet that National Endowment for the Humanities benchmark, raise that $48,000, and with that federal funds, move forward with the project. The NEH is on standby. As soon as we tell them we have the match in hand, we can move forward with things. And certainly in the meantime, every summer we have programs here at the village, and so you can come through. You might not be able to stay here on site, but you can go through some of our other historic structures, our interpreted structures, wet your palate a little bit for what's coming down the pike.
And if there's people looking to help out, you're always looking for volunteers for those programs, right?
We always have a shortage of volunteers, and I will say you don't have to have any expertise in the anthracite industry as long as you, care about a local institution and want to see this community that's really grown up around the village continue to thrive. There's never been a better time to get involved.